Hello. I'm back to do another reading. I'm going to pull two cards today. This will represent um, kind of a situation of change, a kind of gesture of change that you are currently operating within, as well as the changing line, which will give you the sort of part in the process that you're most aligned to at this moment in time, and the future hexagram, which will be kind of where you're going. What's moving towards you as a result of this process that you're kind of within at the moment. I'm using a deck that I created myself, art and notes by me. And first, I'll take a moment to call the guides for us. I welcome the spirits of the elements, our ancestors, our guides, and our guardians. Bring this video to those who need it, this message. Show us how we can be in this moment. Okay, I'm going to look away. And I feel the spot drawing me to it. There we go. Now, this card is Small Nourisher, number 9. Don't hold back yet, but keep an eye out for the storm to come. This is a good time to dutifully attend to your affairs. Take care of whatever can be taken care of to bring a small relief and reinforcement before you will have to take cover. The air trigram over heaven trigram suggests that you should gather nourishment for your mind and virtue. The image is of a soft wind and clouds forming. And I have a deeper analysis video that covers this element. It's really this hexagram is what I mean. Um, it's really a lovely gesture when I have this image here. It's really those clouds that are gathering and kind of holding the rain before the storm comes. It gets very dense and heavy, but it's just like this quiet holding in gesture. And so that is the um, maybe an image that will help you think of your position right now and how you should be approaching your situation. We have heaven on the bottom trigram, those 3 solid lines, and air on the top trigram, 2 solid, 1 broken. Let's see where this is heading. Air element is often associated with the mind and the intellect, with meditation and reflection, with breath and breathing. It's also associated with spirit world, like hungry ghosts, ghosts that are not passed on into the realm of ancestors yet, that still have work to do, unfinished business. Um, that might help you think about the situation that you're working in right now. Right, where are we heading? That one. Ooh. Divine Law, Hexagram 61. Your inner truth is moving. Your boat is complete and river ready. This is an auspicious time to take on great tasks. Everyone around you will be drawn to your sound judgments. And here we also have air on top. So no changing lines on the top, but below we have water. It looks like the third line is our only changing line in this particular set. So you'll see here. Woof, I feel like orienting myself with the camera is tricky still. So that third line right there, solid in the first one, but broken in the second. Transforming the heaven element, which is that sort of primitive, divine, spiritually inspired, creative drive, is that heaven force. And water is emotion. Water is community. It's discourse. It's expression of our emotions outwardly. It's flows and has a tendency to find equilibrium, flow into itself and join with itself, accumulate. These are qualities of water. And so you have this sort of, creative force being driven and balanced by this creative drive that's being balanced by this water element here in your situation. Let's see what line 3 says. Read a little bit more about these hexagrams. We're very squarely, and this is a very clear reading, one changing line. There's not a lot to be confused about here. It should give us some pretty interesting insights in your situation. Starting with hexagram 9. Some of the names that have been given to this one, I have called it small nourisher. Some others have called it passive restraint, taming of the small, lesser nourisher, small nourisher. Small accumulating, small harvest, small obstruction, nurturance by the small, restraint by the weak, restrained, minor restraint, the weak force. And I'd like to point out, because I feel like the English language just fails us sometimes, especially with words like weak and small. Um, these have these weak and small words have connotations in our culture um, that are that they're not powerful, but that is definitely not the case. In this hexagram, we're talking about small powers, the power of smallness, which is a real power, a true power. Um, the power of weakness or softness or gentleness, um, which has a great power in the case of that rain cloud that's holding an enormous amount of weight, right? It's in a dispersed, growing, building up sort of way, and it will eventually let go, right? But and what it let goes of, the power of that storm that comes down is an inverse picture of how powerful that force was that was holding it back. And it's very much equated to this idea in Tai Chi of um, that you don't need force or brute strength to overcome your opponent, right? Um, and I talk about that in my analysis. Anyway, I just thought I would go there with that because that's a thing I learned from this one that is still pretty dear to my heart. Let's see here. So in this situation, just getting a big picture, I do feel that it's really important to um, identify those ghosts. And I mean, if you believe in ghosts, I support you in your belief. If you don't, I encourage you to consider the ghost as not an actual, like, floating dead spirit. It's still useful to you um, to think of, regardless of if there is a ghost haunting somebody out there in the world, haunting you specifically, that regardless of that, there is unfinished business. that those who leave us with unfinished business that has an impact on our lives. And so in this case, I feel that maybe something you need to be reflecting on, if there is something that someone who has left you, um, who has left this world, regardless of if you knew them or not, someone in your lineage, someone close to your family line, regardless of blood relationship, someone who affected your parents deeply, and therefore it also had an impact on you because who they are in the world has an impact on who you are in the world. We're talking generational trauma potentially. Um, and if not the big word T trauma, generational habits, generational beliefs, value systems that are holding you back. They're restraining you. And it it's that rain cloud building up. And eventually that restraint is not going to be able to hold in any longer. Um, so just think maybe about how that is. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, we're heading towards divine law, right? And that had like this huge component of inner truth um, to it. So this is something that's preparing you for something great, I think. Let's read line 3. Line 3 is the spokes of the cartwheel loosen. Let's read some other things. I want to go back. So advice to the superior individual is the Junzi refines his splendorous virtue. Leaders beautify cultured qualities. So let's look at line 3 again a little bit more closely. Let's look at some different translations for that one. The idea of a carriage, the strap beneath which has been removed, or of a husband and wife looking on each other with averted eyes, the spokes bursting out of wagon wheels, rolling of eyes. Chariot separated from the spoked wheel, glaring, husband and wife glaring at each other. The cart throwing its axle strut. So these are just many ways it's been translated. There doesn't appear to be a lot of intriguing dissent in the interpretation of this particular line. Sometimes I read them and I'm like, wow, people got some really different things out of that. This one feels pretty consistent. There seems to be a kind of disunion, a division between the cart and wheel, within the self. It could be the husband and wife metaphor is often a disharmony or disunion within the self, in the case of the I Ching. It could be a literal sort of disconnection and within a partnership for you specifically. It just depends on your situation and what you're applying this to. There could be a disunion between thought and feeling. So, we're going from the idea of air being a very thought-based element and water being a feeling-based element there. There may be a sense of your self-identity dissolving or becoming disjointed. It's transforming into something else. I would encourage you to kind of don't get entangled with that disconnect or that disagreement. Don't get stuck in it. Let it sort of dissolve, dissipate, rain down. This storm that's coming, this rainfall, this torrent of waters that will fall as a result of these clouds accumulating is meant to be released. It's meant to be let go. there, and that maybe that family history that I was talking about that is going to, you're going to dissolve its ties on you, its restraint, it's holding you back, and that's going to be released. And one of the ways you release it is by letting yourself become disengaged from that cart, right? Yeah, I think that's a possibility for some of you for sure. So something you may be specifically struggling with in relation to this holding back that you feel, or this confrontation, or um this ghost that's haunting, right? Something you may be feeling is an emotional overwhelm that isn't willing, that's kind of being stubborn to reason. It's not allowing itself to be rationalized or talked down off the edge, right? And so there could be a freezing of your ability to act as a result of that, a kind of paralysis. I want to look at line divine law for a minute. This is hexagram 61, which, just feels like a good omen. But I think I also sense this tension in this reading. And so I want to look at it a little bit closer. So some of the meanings as a connection to the truth, connecting to the spirit, a peaceful heart, stability that lets you face vicissitudes in life, an incubation or hatching, self-reflection that allows you to acquire a place where you can influence your world that you live in. A sort of clearing of all storms, right? This water is smooth sailing. Um, that's the general picture. There's a need to really, really focus on connecting your inner world, the goals that are true inside of you, with your outer world and those goals that you're actually like taking actions to aim towards. They're disconnected at the moment. The cart and horse are not, or the cart and wheel are not connected. One of those is your inner world and one of those is your outer. Really feeling that this is a personal reading, not a relationship reading. Um, and I'm going to read line 3 on this one because sometimes that's like the shadow side of the line we were reading. Sometimes we drum, sometimes we stop, sometimes we weep, and sometimes we sing. Finding an equal rival, something to love and fight with. Imagine the situation is difficult. It's a difficult time when you meet the new spirit. Leave quarrels behind and come together. Don't be a skeptic. Don't hold back. Don't carry on in old, violent ways. These are the advices that come with this line 3, which I just want to go back and revisit line 3 on the other card really quick. That the cart and wheel being disjointed. Maybe you just leave that cart. Maybe you just set out on foot. It seems like maybe that's the advice I have, that there's something big to be left behind because it's holding you back. You need to let it go.